Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Gallant, and I have a very special show for you today. Another famous person from the town of Sandwich, one of our famous select people. Yes, we are going to talk to a select person about what's going on in the town and how they're coping with all these new, incredible situations that are popping up. We're also going to talk about some old times too, and some exciting stories that happened in the past in Sandwich. So come along, let's have another Cape conversation. Hi, everybody. I am so glad that you're with me today because I've got one of the top people in town talking to him about everything Sandwich. He is a selectman. He has been a fighter here, if I can get the word out, and he is absolutely a gem to talk to. Bobby George, how are you?
Very good. A little rainy today. Hopefully, we'll get the sun out this afternoon.
All right.
We all hate the rain, kind of, but we need it. But
I'm counting on you to bring out
we'd
that
love to see the
sun.
sun. Yep.
So, Bobby, what are your duties as selectman with all this virus stuff?
Well, we try to keep on top of everything that's going on. We have a command team, and that's comprised of the top officials on each board. The Board of Health, the town administrator, the police chief, the fire chief, um, building inspector, conservation. Um, it's an emergency management team we put together to try to keep on top of everything. And every morning they have a meeting at 9 o'clock. And then we get an update. That means all the selectmen get emails, get an update on what's going on in town. Um, the important things, what they're trying to do with the people in town, take care of everybody, how many cases of the virus we've got going on, how many are in the hospital, how many recovered. And they try to, the team tries to keep the selectmen informed. We have a few people that would call us to do things in town, help them out, and a lot of things that we refer back to the town administrator. We're kind of like the selectmen are kind of go between sometimes. So they can call us, talk to us with their problems. I get a lot of that. There's so much to do is try to keep everything going smoothly. It's a big
Sure.
job.
Well, I have a question. I heard that you actually went out and helped a lady with her she couldn't get out because she's on oxygen. You helped her with her generator because yesterday we were supposed to lose power. We didn't where I live, but I heard that a lot of people did. So did you go out and do that too?
Yeah, I had a lady that I plow snow in the winter, and she's one of my customers. She called me, and she was all excited and nervous about the generator having gas in it, if it would run, and she needed more gas. So I said, "Yeah, I'll come right out." So I went out and got her gas cans and filled the generator up, made sure it was running. And the one of her friends, it's on the fire department. The fire inspector lives right up the street, and he said he would start it. And I told her I didn't mind coming out if we lost power the other night. And
Yeah.
so the fire inspector called her and said he would come out and start her generator if she had a problem. She's on auction 24/7. So she was pleased with that. That she could get somebody out there to, and we made sure that she was going to be safe. And then the wind stopped at 8 or 9 o'clock. We didn't have really many power outages.
No, I
So I think
know.
we're very fortunate. You
Well,
know,
they've been doing a lot of work on trees in Sandwich, that's for sure. I mean, they've been cutting back a lot of trees, which probably helps somewhat, I would think.
yeah, that was one of my big beefs as a selectman. If you drove down the service road, you see all the dead trees hanging over the road, and I, you know, brought it to meeting after meeting, and finally the highway department had time to get out there, and with their tree crew, they did a hell of a job and finally cut the trees, being busy. We had a bad one right up there on across from Tilk on Warren on their property, and I had people send me pictures of the tree. It was a dead tree hanging right over the road. And
Ah,
finally, a limb came down to a gentleman's windshield. And after that, I finally told the town administrator, I feel like we need to get this done. And
Yeah,
finally, PA Land, it was on their property. They stepped up and cut that tree. But you see in other towns where that happens, and the town is liable. I mean, if we have a tree that comes down, we're liable if we know it's there and we don't cut it. So, but they've been doing a good job. They're out there cutting trees down, and it's just the bugs have killed so many trees in town that we have to keep on top of that. It's just another headache we have.
sure, sure. So, Bobby, what are you doing to keep yourself busy during this pandemic, other than selectman work and helping out your customers?
Uh, well, it's a lot of emails. Every day I'm getting emails from the town administrator, from the command team. A lot of people in town have questions. They call us, which when I was elected, I said, if you have a problem, call me. I don't mind. I served on the fire department for 48 years working with people. So it doesn't bother me to go out and help anybody. That's why I became a selectman. I think to stay in the loop and service people. So I get calls all day long. I've got the alarm company. I do things with that. Just trying to put software. I don't have to go out to people's houses if I can do it
Sure,
remotely. Uh,
sure.
but the big thing is trying to keep everything running in town, and with everything going on, all the updates we get every day. I get an update in the morning from Bud Dunham. I get one usually in the afternoon, and that goes to all the selectmen. So if we have somebody that calls us with a question or a problem, we try to refer that to Bud Dunham, and then if it needs to go to the team the next morning or that afternoon, it can. Um, if we can take care of it in-house, we try to do that too. But Bud has been pretty good about if you guys have a question and maybe you can answer it, go ahead. If we feel it needs to go to Bud Dunham, the administrator, or the team, then we refer to them. And we're all trying to work together, and I think it's been working out very, very good. They've done one heck of a job. And I was kidding with Bud. I said, when this is all over, all you team leaders need to take some time off. And, maybe we'll give them a few days off.
I think you're
You know.
right. I think you're right. Hey, listen, you have a new grandbaby. Is that correct?
Yeah, my oldest son just had a baby girl. They've got a 2-year-old boy,
Oh,
and so myself, and my wife have been going over and trying to babysit. Sometime during the day, sometime at night. Let them get some sleep. They've been up and down with the baby. So it's hard trying to do everything else and go over there and do that, get things for them. One thing we did Easter, we made a big dinner and went over. They came over. My son had the baby. We brought it over as food to them. My other 2 kids, they came over to the house and picked up food. We had it all ready for them. Um, One night we did pizza from Father's Kitchen and Tap House, trying to support all the local restaurants.
oh,
You buy one
sure.
pizza, you get one free. So we did a pizza night,
I
and
didn't know
myself,
that
my wife
fathers
went
did
down.
that. I didn't know fathers did that. Buy one, get
Yep,
one free? Wow.
Father's Kitchen and Tap House. I think it's every day. They're closed on Mondays, and you buy one pizza, get one free. You buy one hamburger and get one free of that too. So
Wow.
we did a pizza night. We went over and we bought a bunch of pizzas and delivered them to all my kids' houses
Oh,
on
cute.
the doorstep. We did the Sagamore Inn. I supported them. We got meals out of that. Marshland. We got some meals out of there, and just trying to support all the local restaurants.
Well, it's a tough time for them for sure, and they don't know
It
what's
is.
going to happen in the future
No,
as of
no.
yet.
But I think everybody should support, all the local restaurants, and if they can afford it, go out and get a meal. And if you've got somebody that can't get out, get them a meal also. It helps everybody. I think
Sure,
we all
sure it does. So you were a firefighter. How long were you a firefighter on the Sandwich Fire Department?
48 years I put in.
Oh my gosh. And I bet you've seen it all then.
I've seen quite a bit. Some good things, some bad things. Had a lot of fun doing it. Had a great time with all the guys. I see guys come and go, retire, and it was a great experience.
So Brian Gallant's dad was not a fire chief. He was president of the um,
Commander of
American
the
Legion.
American Legion.
Yeah.
He was commander of the American Legion in Sandwich for years.
Well, we used to laugh because he used to say to us that we're all, because I'm now married to somebody named Gallant, that we
Yeah.
are all related. But it turns out we're not related to that side of the Gallants because they came actually through Virginia to get,
Yeah.
they were kind of scallywags, those people were, and they came through Virginia. So we were laughing because his family came through Nova Scotia, where there are a million Gallants, as they say.
Yep. But you're in a small town. If your name is Gallant, everybody figures you're related.
That's it. We're not.
Uh,
Anyway,
yeah.
so we should be, but we're not. So tell
Yeah.
me, when we first moved here in, I think it was 79, right before we moved here, there was a giant tank fire. Were you a part of that?
Yeah. That was early one morning. I think it was in August, and I got a call. Lois McLaughlin was a dispatcher, and I was over in Bourne on a alarm call I was working on the alarm company, Sandwich Security. She says, "You probably need to get back in town. We got a big fire at the power plant." So I said, "All right, I'll be right in." So I came over the Sagamore Bridge, looked towards the power plant, and this big black cloud of smoke came
Oh
up
my
there.
gosh.
And I said, "Oh, I guess we got something down there pretty good." So I went in, grabbed the ladder truck. Chief Alvisi was the chief at that point, and came into Tupper Road, and he had me lay a line off the hydrant, Tupper Road into the power plant. And we had no water supply in the power plant at that time.
Really?
So we laid a line in, myself, Bobby Guilfoy, started putting water on the top of that tank. And I guess what happened was there was a company in there welding insulation to the top of the tank. And they have a welding gun, and the welding gun went through the metal on the top of the tank and dropped hot embers into the inside of the tank and ignited it.
Wow.
Well, it blew the top of the tank right off. The guys up
gosh.
there that were installing the insulation, they got blown off right off the top of the tank. And then the top of the tank blew right off. So
What happened to the guys? Were they hurt? The guys that were on top of the
they were
tank?
hurt. They were hurt a little bit. They survived. They were taken to the hospital, as I can remember. But it escalated from there. That tank just roaring away. So many thousands of millions of gallons in that tank. It overheated. It burned the side of the wall, heated the tank, and the oil went into the retaining wall around the tank. And eventually the retaining wall let go. At that point, the oil just spilled out all over the place into the woods. I can remember Chief Alvisi hollering at me and Bobby Guilfoy, "Just get that ladder out of there, get that ladder truck out of there." And we just brought the ladder down and just drove it down through the middle of the power plant.
Oh my gosh.
In the hose dragging behind us. It was pretty intense. A lot of guys, I think it was in August, and a lot of guys were getting overcome by the heat of the day plus the fire. And they had kids' swimming pools full of water. The Red Cross came in, different towns, ambulances, surrounding towns off Cape. I remember Dr. Brummer from Cape Cod Hospital. He came right to the fire scene direct. Usually you don't see that anymore.
No.
We had Otis Fire came in with their crash trucks with the foam. We had Algonquin Gas come in with their foam. And eventually we just started dumping buckets and buckets and buckets of foam into our trucks to pump it onto the fire. It probably took a good 10 to 12 hours to get that fire out. And we were there for a couple of days after.
Did you have to evacuate part of Sandwich?
I think they did. Town Neck and the surrounding downtown, I think they did.
Wow.
They were afraid that the surrounding tanks were going to ignite too. They were so close.
Right.
And we had never seen anything like that before.
Oh, sure.
The Global Petroleum down there in the canal.
Yeah.
After that fire, the following year, they had sent me to Texas A&M. They have
Wow.
a great school out there for petroleum fires and whatnot.
Yep.
And I went out for a week and got educated on how to handle, big incidents with petroleum involved. It was a great school. I learned a lot. It was interesting. So I came back and I gave my knowledge that I had to our fire department on how to cope with it if we ever happens again. And it
Excellent.
actually it did happen again. Uh, I think it was a month later. They were doing a cleanup in there on that tank, and somehow it got ignited, and
Oh
we did
no.
have another fire down there.
Wow.
It wasn't a big fire, but it was enough to get everybody back down there again,
Oh, I
and
bet.
that didn't last that long. But it was inside the tank on the cleanup. Something ignited that oil. But that was a pretty good experience. I think it's the biggest fire I've seen as far as petroleum oil fires.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't get a lot of those out here. It's certainly not like Texas, where they
No,
have,
no, but we got the potential. We
yeah,
got the power
yeah,
plant, and we got global petroleum too down there
yeah.
by Seafood Sands.
Right,
We got
right.
a lot of fuel in town.
There sure is. There sure
Yeah,
is. That's for sure.
true.
So, Bobby, here we are. It's pandemic season, I guess. What do you think the future holds for Sandwich right now?
Well, it's scary. I don't know. You hear the president say one thing, the governor says another thing. Never thought we'd see anything in my lifetime like this. We had
Right,
the viruses before when I was on the department, nothing of this magnitude.
right.
Um, I think we just have to play the role out and wait and see what happens. They say stay safe, stay home as much you can. Wear the masks. You feel kind of stupid wearing the mask. Everybody looks at you, and
Well,
you know, and that's what
everybody
you got
else
to
should,
do.
well, yeah, but everybody else should have one on, so shame on them if they don't have one
Yeah,
on.
they do. I see some that don't. Um, like I said at the selectmen's meeting a couple of weeks ago, I seen some things in town where people got mad at each other, screaming at each other, almost getting into a fist face fight, and you have to be nice to each other, stay your distance, and I think you have to look at whatever you do, you have to look at the outcome, what's going to come out of it. Um, I was reading, I get the Sandwich Enterprise there. I was reading the paper the other day, and I'm looking at the police reports and seeing what's kind of going on and get a feeling what's going on in town.
Yes.
And I see out in Lakewood Hills, there was two people driving a car, and I guess they got in a little argument about cutting each other off. And it said, right in the paper, it said one uh, driver gave the other driver the bird,
Oh
and
no.
they called the police because they were mad because they gave him the bird.
Yeah,
So I mean, that's just stupidness. I mean,
yeah,
you're going to argue over cutting each other off, but now you're going to involve the police department in the incident. If they have to come close to each other, I mean, now everybody can get infected for stupid things like doing that. So I think we have to look at what we're doing, the outcome of what's going to be, and just try to use your head on this whole thing. They say sometime in May, it might be over. Who knows? It might go longer.
it might go
Um,
longer.
will this come back? We're going to have a relapse on it.
Right,
You don't know. Who knows? You look
right.
at where it's cold in some parts of the country and it's there, and some parts of the country it's warm. So I don't think the weather really affects this virus.
No,
Um,
no.
it's a scary thing.
Well, I don't think they know. I think they're learning about the virus,
Right?
but I don't think they know yet. And I also think this, if you listen to the scientists, which I tend to do other than the politicians, because the
Yep.
politicians have their own hide and they want their own hide covered. So, or their backside, as I like to say, covered. But the scientists
Yep.
tell you the God awful and God honest truth. And so listening to
Yep.
them, they're learning about this, but they say we've got a ways to go. And I don't think we're going to be open in early May. I wish we would, because I personally have lots of things that could be going on for me personally if we did,
Sure.
but we won't.
Yep.
So, I hope it's by mid-June, they can come up with a plan. And Sandwich, I'm sure, will be a part of the statewide plan and the county-wide plan on how to open us up, because I think that's very important. how are they going to open us up? You can't just let everybody go to the mall right off the bat,
Right, right.
you know?
Um, I don't know. It's a wait and see game, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, our celebration there, the 4th of July. I don't know if
yeah.
we're gonna have that. Um, one thing I was thinking about, and is maybe that when this whole thing is over and we're all back to normal, we do the
Yep.
4th of July fireworks at high school. We make a whole day out of it and have a big
Games.
celebration for everybody
Yeah.
in town.
Oh, I think that's
And
great. That would be great.
I think it'd be big morale boost to everybody, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially those
Uh,
people with kids. Yikes.
yeah,
Thank God my
yeah.
kids are grown up. I wouldn't want to be homeschooling right
Oh,
now.
I know. I wouldn't want to do that either. I'd pull them with a hair if I got all of it to be gone.
Yes, for sure. So, are you going to be chairman this next go around or no?
Uh, I've got a lot on my platter.
Okay,
And I've talked to Mike Miller, and I think I suggested to Mike, why don't he jump up to chairman, and then
sure.
I can jump up to vice chairman.
I
We
gotcha.
talked to Dave Sampson about it. You can only be chairman so many terms, and I think Dave is at his limit now.
Yeah,
So I think probably that's what we're gonna do, but I can't say for sure, but I think maybe that's what'll probably happen.
excellent. Well, you'll be a good vice chairman for sure. You'll have a steady
Oh
hand
yeah.
on Mike.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, we both graduated together.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we both graduated in 1970, and I've had a couple of my past classmates said, "Hey, you guys, it's 50 years this year,"
Yeah.
and we're supposed to have a 50th reunion, but with all this going on, who knows what's going to happen?
Well, you may
You
have to
know,
put it off for a while.
I think so. What's 50 years? Another year doesn't make a difference.
No, it doesn't. Just as long as you keep healthy between now and then.
Oh yeah, just keep moving. That's all.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Got to keep moving. So I want to thank you for taking your time today with me. It's been a real pleasure. You've given some great information to the town, and it's good to know you, even though I'm not a gallant.
Yeah. Well, you got the name. That's
I
all that
got the
counts.
name. I got the name.
Just the name.
Actually, Bobby, I was a Smith. So what does that tell you?
Well, there was some old Smiths in town too.
Well, they'd have to be pretty old, I think. Anyway, again, thank you so much. And we'll talk again, I hope soon. And perhaps you'll come back on when this is all over and we can talk about happy things. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd like to do that. I watched on the Sandwich Community Television, the Ellises were on there a
Oh,
couple of
yeah.
weeks ago,
Yep.
and I was texting them, and I said, "Geez, maybe we all can get together." Joni Russell was interviewing them, and some of the things they talked about, we all grew up down in Ward 8 all together,
Yep.
across street there,
Yep.
and some of the things I was laughing that they were talked about that I remember when we were all kids together.
There you
So
go.
I said, maybe, we can all get together and do another show with that. I think that'd be hilarious. Because, we all grew up right in Ward 8, all of us.
Well, I'll tell you, they should do a Ward 8 show. And if Joni doesn't want to do the interview, I will, because I would
You
love
can
to
do it.
talk to all of you.
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be great. Some of the things that I can remember when I was a kid.
Yeah,
God,
that's great. That's
it's all
good.
changed,
Well, I know nothing stays the same.
No, no.
So
I just like to, yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Bobby.
I just like to say in closing that everybody stay safe, be kind, courteous, and just think about your actions, what's going to happen with those results of your actions. And I think
Very
if
good.
everybody keeps that in mind, they're going to, stop and think of what they do.
Yes.
But we're going to have to go through this thing all together,
Yeah.
and help anybody you can.
Yeah.
And that number, the Council on Aging number, we put it up at the Selectmen's meeting.
Yeah.
If you need help, anybody needs any kind of a help or anything like that or assistance, the Council on Aging, they have people right there to take the calls. We're trying to channel everything through that.
Okay.
But don't be
Good.
afraid to call. I mean, if you got help and you need help, call. Somebody, one of us out there, somebody will get to you.
Excellent.
Stay safe.
Excellent. All righty. Hey, Bobby, you stay safe and stay home, as everybody tells me. So we'll
Yeah.
have,
That's good.
I'll see you next time. And thanks again for doing this.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
Bye. Yep.
Bobby George, select person. Nice man. Oh my gosh. And he's helping with his kids and his new grandbaby. And he helped the lady who had something wrong with her generator. And my gosh, what a good guy. And he's out there trying to help everybody. He's going to all those meetings, he's getting those emails. I'm sure if you have any questions, you can contact him and find out whatever you need to know. So I want to thank you again today for coming along for another fuzzy slipper conversation. You know, these are tough times, and I feel it myself. But if we all stay connected, you know, pick up the phone and actually talk to somebody, or maybe even take a drive out down to the beach, maybe not get out of the car, but just take a drive down, take a look at the water. It'll make us all feel better. I know it makes me feel better. So anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you again on another Cape Conversation.